I bring word, sire. There are demands from the Banorn that you step down from the Regency. They are said to be gathering their forces, as are your allies. It appears it will be civil war after all, despite the Darkspawn. Pity. I also have an interesting report. There seem to be Grey Wardens who survived Ostagar. How, I don't know. But they will act against you. I have arranged for a solution, with your leave.
The Antivan Crows send their regards.
An assassin?
Against Grey Wardens, we will need the very best, sire.
And the most expensive.
Just get it done.
Look, can we talk for a moment? I need to tell you something. I, should probably have told you earlier. Well, let's see. How do I tell you this? We're almost at Redcliffe. Did I say how I know Arl Eamon exactly? I'm a bastard. My mother was a serving girl at Redcliffe Castle, and she died when I was born. Arl Eamon took me in and raised me before I was sent to the Chantry. The reason he did that was because, well, because my father was King Marek, which made Kaelin my half-brother, I suppose. I would have told you, but it never really meant anything to me. I was inconvenient, a possible threat to Kaelin's rule, and so they kept me secret. I'd never talked about it to anyone. Everyone who knew either resented me for it or they coddled me. Even Duncan kept me out of the fighting because of it. I didn't want you to know as long as possible. I'm sorry. You're right, I should have. It's brought me nothing but problems, to be honest. Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, despite all the problems it caused with the king so soon after the war. He loved her a great deal. Anyway, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as the Arl's bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10. Just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me. Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence. I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall, and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that, I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man and well-loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. So there you have it. Now can we move on? And I'll just pretend you still think I'm some nobody who was too lucky to die with the rest of the Grey Wardens. Oh, lovely. I'm going to regret this. Somehow I just know it.
I thought I saw travelers coming down the road, though I scarcely believed it. Have you come to help us? So you don't know? Has nobody out there heard? He could be dead for all we know. Nobody's heard from the castle in days. We're under attack. Monsters come out of the castle every night and attack us until dawn. Everyone's been fighting and dying.
Apparently everyone seems to agree that a blight is the perfect time to start killing each other. Marvelous, really.
We've no army to defend us. No Arl and no king to send us help. So many are dead. And those left are terrified they're next.
Hold on, what is this evil that's attacking you?
I don't rightly know. I'm sorry, nobody does. I should take you to Ban Tegan. He's all that's holding us together. He'll want to see you.
Ban Tegan, Arl Eamon's brother. He's here.
Yes. It's not far, if you'll come with me.
It's Thomas, yes? And who are these people with you? They're obviously not simple travelers.
No, my lord. They just arrived, and I thought you would want to see them.
Well done, Thomas. Greetings, friends. My name is Tegan, Ban of Rainersphere, brother to the Arl.
I remember you, Ban Tegan. Though the last time we met, I was a lot younger and covered in mud.
Covered in mud? Alistair? It is you, isn't it? You're alive! This is wonderful news.
Still alive, yes. Though I'm just as surprised about that as you are, believe me.
Indeed. Loghain would have us believe all Grey Wardens died along with my nephew, amongst other things. That Loghain pulled out his own men in order to save them. That Cailan risked the entire nation's safety in the name of glory. Loghain calls the Grey Wardens traitors, murderers of the king. I don't believe it. It is an act of a desperate man. So you are a Grey Warden as well. A pleasure to meet you. I wish it were under better circumstances. You're here to see my brother. Unfortunately, that might be a problem. Eamon is gravely ill. No one has heard from the castle in days. No guards patrol the walls, and no one has responded to my shouts. The attack started a few nights ago. Evil things surged from the castle. We drove them back, but many perished during the assault. Some call them the Walking Dead, decomposing corpses returning to life with a hunger for human flesh. They hit again the next night. Each night they come with greater numbers. With Cailan dead and Loghain starting a war over the throne, no one responds to my urgent calls for help. I have a feeling tonight's assault will be the worst yet. Alistair, I hate to ask, but I desperately need the help of you and your friends.
It isn't just up to me. Though the Grey Wardens don't stand much chance against Loghain without Arl Eamon.
There are no darkspawn here, and nothing to gain. It is a fool's errand. Perhaps.
How pointless to help these villagers fight an impossible battle. One would think we had enough to contend with elsewhere.
Thank you. Thank you. This means more to me than you can guess. Thomas, please tell Murdoch what transpired. Then return to your post.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, there is much to do before night falls. I put 2 men in charge of the defense outside. Murdoch, the village mayor, is outside the chantry. Sir Perth, one of Eamon's knights, is just up the cliff at the windmill, watching the castle. You may discuss with them the preparations for the coming battle. Of course. I do not know. They seem to be walking corpses, men with rotting flesh that continue to attack even with the gravest injuries.
Undead, spirits possessing the dead. There could be several causes behind such a thing, none of them pleasant.
Are you suggesting what's happened here is related to Kaelin's death and the Civil War, even Eamon's illness? No, I do not. I arrived recently myself, having heard the news. I know as much as you do now. I really haven't given it a lot of thought, to be honest. It's been a struggle just to survive. But it could be involved with the throne, yes. Our sister was Kaelin's mother. I suppose we've royal blood, but it's a shaky claim to the throne, though still better than Loghain's. And it does mean Eamon could intervene in Loghain's bid for the throne, but let's not leap to conclusions. I would not like to think that anyone would wish this on my brother. He is a good man and much loved by the people of Redcliffe. And I can't imagine how terrible it must be for our lesser Isolde, and especially Connor. I would not want him to lose his father at such a young age. I have those few who returned from their quest. You know of this, yes? Yes, I question Isolde's decision to send so many knights in search of this relic. But I am a practical man, whereas she is a woman of great faith. Sir Perth was one of the knights sent on this quest. Perhaps you should speak to him if you wish to learn more. Sir Perth insists. He wants me to be with the villagers, so everyone he needs to protect is in one place. I don't mind, to be honest. The point of all this is to protect the villagers, and I can do that best here. This is the last line of defense, should things go amiss. Should the monsters find their way in. I would prefer not to fight in the chantry, but if they come, then so must it be. We could bring some men in to stand beside me, but I'd rather keep the monsters away from the villagers if possible. Hopefully we can find the source and stop it before it causes any more damage. With luck, we'll also find Eamon and be able to help him. Very well. Luck be with you, my friend.
You are of elven blood and a stranger, yet you defend a home that is not your own. We are grateful for that. Not many in these modern days would honestly say the same. You are a woman of worth, and the Maker will smile upon you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am revered Mother Hannah, head of this chantry, which for the moment is a place of refuge for these poor villagers. They are terrified of tonight's attack, and I fear these walls will not keep them safe. What can I do to help with your task? It is the sturdiest building in the village. The women, elderly, and children will stay here during the battle, while the militia and knights protect them. They set up a barricade outside the chantry to keep monsters from getting inside. If anything gets in, Ban Tegan is our only defense. Please, have mercy. Help these people. Do whatever you can. May the Maker watch over you, child.
So you're the Grey Warden, are you? I didn't think they made women Grey Wardens. If you hadn't noticed, there aren't darkspawn around these parts. Not yet, anyway. We aren't gonna turn aside anyone who wants to help, though. Don't take me for being an ingrate or nothing.
Well, we do want to help however we can. You can trust us.
Name's Murdoch, mayor of what's left of the village, providing we aren't all killed and hauled off to the castle tonight. My men are certain enough as it is that they'll die tonight. They don't need me quivering in my boots. My death will come soon enough. It don't need me hurrying it along. Anyhow, you're here, and they tell me you're in charge. We need what little armor and weapons we got repaired, and quickly, or half of us will be fighting without either. Owen's the only blacksmith who can do it, but the stubborn fool refuses to even talk. If we're to be ready for tonight, we'll need that crotchety bastard's help.
His daughter, Valena, is one of the Alessa's maids, so he hasn't heard from her since this whole business started. He demanded we attack the castle, break down the gate, and force our way in. I said it was impossible, but he wouldn't listen. He's locked himself in the smithy now. I can't force him to do repairs. He said he'd rather die first. Not by nightfall, and not well enough that I'd be happy to test it in combat. If there were others, don't you think I'd ask them? We could use some extra bodies. Having a veteran like Dwyn in the militia would help a lot, but he flat out refuses. He's a trader, a dwarf, lives near the lake. Locked himself up in his home with some of his workers, he has. Says he doesn't need any of us. We could use somebody with his fighting experience, but he won't come out. Shouldn't you be trying to reason with Owen? Don't drink with him. That's how he sucks you in. Just my luck, our success hinges on the most foolish drunk of a smith ever to grace the Maker's land.
Go away. Curse you. Leave me in peace. You've already taken everything out of my stores. There's nothing left. Huh? Who is that? What do you want? I've been through enough. All right. Let me undo the locks. All I ask is that you don't make any trouble.
Somebody's been drinking.
So I let you in. You wanted to talk. Now we're talking. Mind telling me who you are? A Grey Warden, is it? It takes all kinds. Funny, you didn't sound like an elf through the door. Can't say I expected that. Anyhow, my name's Owen, though you might already know that. Care to join me as I get besotted? Or is there something in particular you wanted? Why should I help Murdoch when he won't help me? My girl, Valena, is one of the Alessa's maids, and she's trapped up there in the castle, but the mayor won't send anyone for her. She's been my life since my wife passed on 2 years ago. Now she's dead, or soon to be. I don't care what happens to me or the village, or anyone! Why not? It's not like we're going to live past the night anyhow. Or are you going to save us? Is that so? Maybe it's the drink talking, but you almost sound like you believe that. Tell you what, if you want me to do repairs for Murdoch and his men, promise me you'll go into the castle and find my daughter. Not good enough. Murdoch said the same damn thing, and I didn't believe him either.
You were asking a great deal, you wretched little man.
I want a promise. Promise me that you'll look for her. That you'll bring her back to me if you can. I'll accept that. It's something to hope for, at least.
Oh, lovely. Shall we next begin rescuing kittens from trees?
Is this a promise we will not keep?
Let's hope not.
What's this?
I said nothing to you, human.
Right then. It seems I have some work to do relighting the forge, and I suppose I'll have to find some iron. Maybe at the mill. Murdoch just better send his men here as soon as possible if I'm gonna get to all these repairs and get them done by nightfall. If you need anything done, well, just let me know. I've got a lot to do now, so you'll have to excuse me.
Well, it looks like Owen's finally doing the repairs we need. The damn fool is falling over drunk and still manages to make smithying look easy. Good enough, I say. I'll send one of my men to inform Bantegan the militia is ready for battle. I hope you're right. We may just be village folk, but we're going to fight like there's no tomorrow. You'll find him and his men at the mill by the bridge, to the north. I have a good feeling about...
Wonderful. Intruders. I hope you have a good reason for breaking and entering into my home. Apology accepted. The name's Dwin. Pleased to meet you. Now get out. Surviving. We have supplies to last for quite some time. And my boys and I can swing a weapon better than any of those fools out there. Thanks. But I'll take my chances in here. Everyone else can run around in the open waiting to die. Maybe. Let's hear what you've got. You might just be able to pull that off. Fine. I'll throw in with the militia. For now. You better be out there too when the sun goes down. I'm not fighting for a lost cause, you hear me?
Repairs are underway surprisingly quickly, considering how drunk Owen is. We may just make it. The men's spirits are high for now. Far better than I expected, to be honest. Dwin's presence makes the men a bit more confident. It helps to know a veteran is on our side tonight. Since you convinced Owen to start repairs, we're pretty well armed now. That is a relief, let me tell you. Overall, I'd say the militia's very ready to fight. Never thought I'd say that, but there you go. Is there anything else? I have a good feeling about...
Greetings, Grey Warden. I am as relieved as Bantegan is to see you here. I must admit, I do not know how to address an elf in your position. I do not wish to be rude. As you wish, and thank you kindly. I am Sir Perth, until recently in direct service of Arl Eamon of Redcliffe. For now my charge is defending the village from these evil assaults. Would that I had chosen not to seek out the urn of sacred ashes. Perhaps I would have fended off whatever evil befell the castle, or perhaps I would be dead. Ah well, with the Grey Warden aiding our defense, perhaps all is not lost. No one told me of this. Oil, you say? How much exactly? Assuming that would hurt them. Yes, I see what you have in mind. That might be effective, if used carefully. Yes, excellent idea. I'll send some men to collect the oil. We'll use it to slow these creatures down. Have you anything else to ask me in the meantime? We have sufficient armor and weapons, but my knights are too few to stand against the monsters without assistance. Perhaps you could approach Mother Hannah in the Chantry for some holy protection against these evil creatures. Otherwise, I do not know what else you could provide beyond your own talents. We're as prepared for the onslaught as we could possibly be, all things considered. No, nothing comes to mind. If you have not spoken to the Mayor, Murdoch, you should. His militia is far more in need of aid than we are. Ask me whatever you wish. You know about as much as I do. I returned a day before the attacks began, having heard strange rumors about the abandoned castle. I was the only knight to survive the first attack. Since then, I found others returning from the Arlessa's quest. Until we get to the source of this evil, though, I do not think it will stop, and I don't believe we will be enough. I'm not sure. Murdoch mentioned a blacksmith in the village, but I believe the militia is using everything he had. Beyond that, you might try the village store. It's locked up, but there may be items of use still within. I do not know. A fellow named Lloyd runs it. He refuses to close and evacuate to the Chantry. I suppose he might still have something to sell you, though I wouldn't encourage dealing with a fool. He's a profiteer and nothing more. When the Isle fell sick, we were at a loss. Nothing worked to cure him, and he just kept getting worse. Finally, our lesser Isolde came up with a plan. The Urn of Sacred Ashes is a legendary artifact said to hold great healing powers. If found, it might save him.
They say the followers of Andraste smuggled her ashes out of Tevinter and hid them in Ferelden. The urn's never been heard of since.
We knights volunteered to seek it out. Few of us have returned. Many are still out there, unaware of what is happening here. We were never certain. He thirsted for water and then grew weaker and weaker. We brought in a mage, but even that did nothing. The Arlessa believed he was cursed and that we needed the power of Andraste herself, or he would surely perish. The Arl once employed a scholar, Brother Genetivi. He had proof the urn was in Ferelden, or so I was told. Eventually, perhaps. The ones I have here were those near enough to recall within the last few days. I only returned myself because I was passing by Redcliffe and heard the news of strange attacks. Not at all. A great number of soldiers remained in Castle Redcliffe. I wonder if they perished there and were transformed into these things. The thought chills my blood. As you wish. We retrieved more oil from the village store. It is ready to use as our first line of defense, as you suggested. Overall, my fellow knights are nervous about the coming battle. Death is almost certain, but we will fight and die valiantly if that's what the Maker demands. As you wish, Grey Warden.
What is it you need, child? I have done all I can for them. I pray for them each night and seek the Maker's forgiveness for their sins before they face their deaths. What Sir Perth seeks is something that is not in my power to give. Sir Perth believes that I can protect them against these creatures, a shield only the Maker can provide, and that I withhold this power.
Well, can't you just tell him the Maker will watch over him? Morale is a powerful thing, you know.
You mean you want me to let them think the Maker protects them in a real sense? I will not lie to them like that. I suppose if they believed in the Maker's power, that belief would inspire them somewhat. It just seems like trickery. Very well. If it keeps them alive, I will do what I must. I have a number of silver-cast holy symbols. Tell Sir Perth that he can have them, and that wearing them will confer the Maker's protection. Now please, let me tend to these poor folk. I must do what I can, and I suggest you do the same.
The Knights of Redcliffe are ready to fight at your disposal. Have you spoken to the revered mother? Has she offered anything?
Must we do this? The faith that will protect these men must come from their heart, surely.
If they are the same as the symbols worn by their priests, well, that would more than suffice. Of course I do. These are Maker's symbols. What better protection could we ask for? I will send some men to collect the amulets. Please give my regards to Mother Hannah for seeing some sense at last. No, nothing comes to mind. If you have not spoken to the Mayor, Murdoch, you should. His militia is far more in need of aid than we are. As you wish, Grey Warden. Make a watch
Flowers?
over.
For me? They smell lovely, and there's something so familiar about them. These were my mother's flowers. She would sprinkle the dry petals amongst her clothes. Oh, they smell just like her. Thank you so much.
I hear both Murdoch and Sir Perth are ready for nightfall. Excellent news. This is hardly the time to be discussing personal details, don't you think? We will have to fight for our lives very shortly. I beg your pardon, my lady. Where are my manners? What would you like to know? I don't know. If Connor lives, he'll be the Arl, and I'll need to help him with it. If he's... well, I don't want to think about that. After the first attack, I wanted to go for help, but I couldn't just leave these people. The Bannon gear up to battle Loghain, while Darkspawn loom to the south. Loghain won't send anyone, so Redcliffe is on its own. Skilled enough to know there are many far better than myself. Oh, you mean, am I married? No, I've never had the pleasure. If I did, I'd be lucky to find a woman as lovely as yourself. If I may be so bold, what of you, my lady? Are you married? I find that hard to believe. Surely that is a crime somewhere. But I am too bold, my lady. This is hardly the time for such banter. Please accept my apology. You're too kind, my lady. Amongst many other things. Good, then my secrets are still safe. I was worried for a moment there. Very well. Luck be with you.
Mother Hannah's amulets have greatly bolstered my men's confidence. You couldn't have armed us with any better than our faith in the Maker. There is still time before the sun goes down. If you have not yet spoken to Murdoch, or if there is anything you have planned... Good luck to you then, and may the Maker watch over us all.